Chapter 63. Flying Cloud Sword Technique. You're a disciple of the Flying Cloud sect. Stop. Blood Hand, Wu Mo exclaimed. Do you think I'll stop just because you said so? The young master sneered. His sword continued to shine, forcing Wu Mo to retreat. Fut. In the end, the young master's sword left a long wound on Wu Mo's arm. Blood flowed out. At this time, the young master withdrew his sword and said proudly, "This is a lesson for you. Next time, you'll die. Remember, I'm Xu Feiyun, a core disciple of the Flying Cloud sect. Blood Hand is trash in the eyes of the Flying Cloud sect. So you're a core disciple of the Flying Cloud sect. No wonder you're so strong. This Wu Mo is really asking for it." Lu Ming suddenly understood. He then shook his head and smiled. In the eastern part of the Sun Empire, the Mystic Essence Sword sect was naturally the supreme overlord. However, other than the Mystic Essence Sword sect, there were other sects. Compared to the Mystic Essence Sword sect, these sects were much weaker. However, compared to some rogue cultivators or small families, they were much stronger. The Flying Cloud sect was such a sect. Being scolded by a young man in his 20s like this in public, Wu Mo's face was extremely ugly. However, he did not dare to attack Xu Feiyun. Suddenly, he looked at Lu Ming and said coldly, "Kid, why did you shake your head and laugh just now? Are you mocking me? You little bastard, how dare you mock me? I'll kill you." Whoosh. Then, he slapped at Lu Ming. Since he had lost face to Xu Feiyun, he would get it back on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He looked at Wu Mo's palm with a sneer and did not move. Die. A cold smile appeared on Wu Mo's face. This kid is scared out of his wits. One of the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts shook his head. At this moment, a sword light burst out. The snow-white sword light cut through the air. It was faster and colder than Xu Feiyun's sword light. Fut. Blood flashed, followed by Wu Mo's miserable scream. "Ah, my hand." Wu Mo screamed as he retreated. One of his palms had already disappeared. Of course, his palm had been chopped off by Lu Ming's sword. What a fast sword, what a ruthless method. The hearts of the others in the hall trembled, and they all looked at Lu Ming with a solemn expression. He looked like he was only 15 or 16 years old, but he was actually able to cut off Blood Hand Wu Mo's palm with a single sword strike. What terrifying strength. Who are you? Who are you? Wu Mo screamed shrilly. Mystic Essence Sword Sect, Lu Ming. If you want revenge, you can find me at the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Now, scram. Lu Ming shouted. What? Mystic Essence Sword Sect? Everyone else was shocked, but they soon understood what was going on. So he was a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. No wonder he had such strength. Even Xu Feiyun, who was originally arrogant, became well-behaved at this time. A disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Haha, I admit defeat. Wu Mo smiled bitterly. To him, the Mystic Essence Sword Sect was a giant. If he didn't want to die, he wouldn't be able to take revenge on Lu Ming in this lifetime. Wu Mo picked up his chopped-off hand and rushed out of the hall, disappearing in a sorry state. Mystic Essence Sword Sect. At the top of the hall, the second elder's eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. Haha, so it's a young hero from the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Sorry for the disrespect. The white-haired elder cupped his fist and said politely. Then, the others stood up and cupped their fists. Lu Ming smiled faintly, returned the greeting, and sat down. Haha, I didn't expect to see a hero from the Mystic Essence Sword Sect this time. I didn't even know that the Mystic Essence Sword Sect had taken away my Zhu family's mission card. But this is good. We have a better chance this time. Alright, let's go. Zhu Chuan said with a smile. Everyone nodded and followed Zhu Chuan out of the Zhu family. Outside, the Zhu family's men were ready. A carriage, dozens of Zhu family's guards, and more than 10 green-scale horses. In this carriage is my Zhu family's miss, Zhu Chuan said. Everyone nodded and rode on the green-scale horses. Zhu Chuan shouted, "Let's go." Dozens of green-scale horses rumbled as the group headed towards the Dark Blood Mountain. Zhu Chuan traveled together. Yukong City was more than 10 days away from the Dark Blood Mountain. Everyone traveled during the day and rested at night. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. These 3 days were very peaceful. Because the Dark Blood Mountain was the most dangerous place. Because it was close to the Dark Blood Mountain and the terrain was desolate, there were all kinds of bandits and horse bandits hibernating. On the 4th day, late at night, Lu Ming sat cross-legged in a temporary tent and meditated. Ah! Suddenly, a mournful scream sounded. In the quiet night, it was particularly abrupt. Shua! Lu Ming instantly opened his eyes and rushed out like a gust of wind. Shua! Shua! Obviously, not only him, the others were also alarmed and rushed towards the source of the sound. It was a huge tent. The Zhu family's miscarriage was parked here. Lu Ming, Yin Mountain's 3 ghosts, Xu Feiyun and the others arrived at almost the same time. Outside the tent, a figure collapsed there. It was actually the white-haired old man. But at this moment, his heart was pierced by a short spear and he no longer had any breath. Everyone frowned. These few days, everyone had gotten to know each other. This old man was called Chen Xin and he used a short spear. And now, this old man's heart was pierced by his own short spear. What happened? Zhu Chuan hurriedly rushed over. Seeing this scene, his face changed greatly. Uncle Fu, what happened? Zhu Chuan shouted. In the tent, a somewhat stooped old man walked out. At this moment, he was trembling as he said, reporting to Second Elder, this subordinate also doesn't know what happened. Just now, I suddenly heard a scream and was so scared that this subordinate didn't dare to come out to check. Then, you guys came. There are almost no traces of fighting here. Although Chen Xin's cultivation isn't very high, he's still at the peak of the 5th level martial master. Who could make Chen Xin unable to resist and kill him with his own short spear? The leader of the Yin Mountain's 3 ghosts said with a grave expression. The others also frowned and pondered. Could it be someone from the Zhu family? Zhu Chuan's face suddenly changed. Zhu family? What Zhu family? Xu Feiyun asked. This. I won't hide it from everyone. Our Zhu family has a sworn enemy, the Zhu family. This Zhu family and the Zhu family have been fighting openly and secretly for decades. Everyone wants to destroy the other. This time, if the Zhu family knows that our Zhu family's ancestor is seriously injured, they might send people to stop us from escorting the pills. Zhu Chuan explained. There's such a thing. Second Elder Zhu, your Zhu family didn't mention this when you gave out the mission. Now, there's an extra Zhu family. The danger of the Zhu family has increased exponentially. No, I think this mission needs to be discussed. The leader of the Yin Mountain's 3 ghosts said with a changed expression. That's right. Chapter 64. You guys can't change your mind halfway, Zhu Chuan said with an ugly expression. How about this, since Wu Mo has quit and Chen Xin is dead, we are 2 less people. As long as your Zhu family pays more and doubles the reward, we will continue to do this mission. The head of the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts rolled his eyes and said. Double the price? Zhu Chuan looked troubled. Double the price, 6 people, that would be 1.2 million taels of silver. Even if the Zhu family had a large business, it was still a huge expense. If you don't want to pay, then forget it. The head of the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts said. Wait a minute, I'll pay. Zhu Chuan gritted his teeth. I think it's better to pay half of the deposit first. Xu Feiyun added. Pay half of the deposit first. Zhu Chuan looked hesitant. Second Elder, let's pay first. The safety of the young miss is important. Uncle Fu said. This Uncle Fu was the coachman of the young miss of the Zhu family. Okay, then pay half of it first. Zhu Chuan gritted his teeth, then returned to the tent and took out a stack of silver notes. Each note was 10,000 taels, and he gave each of Lu Ming and the others 100,000 taels. Lu Ming naturally took it without hesitation. Haha, since that's the case, I think we should take turns to be on guard. In case the Zhu family comes to sneak attack. After receiving the silver, the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts and the others all smiled. Immediately, Zhu Chuan ordered the guards of the Zhu family to be on full alert. Naturally, Someone went to deal with Chen Xin's body. Lu Ming looked at the tent of the young miss of the Lu family, and a strange look appeared in his eyes. He always felt that this matter was very strange. Moreover, the young miss of the Zhu family had been out for a few days, and they hadn't even seen her face. She hid in the carriage all day, acting mysteriously. Zhu Chuan said that the young miss of the Zhu family was not in good health during this period of time, and she was afraid of catching a cold. Lu Ming thought for a while, and discussed with the Yin Mountain three ghosts how to arrange for taking turns to be on guard, and then returned to the tent. In the second half of the night, Lu Ming went out to be on guard. There was no movement for the night. The next day, they continued on the road. The next few days were calm and peaceful. On the 8th day, everyone was already close to the Dark Blood Mountain. The terrain gradually became desolate. At this point, everyone was on full alert and on full alert. Whoosh, whoosh. When they passed by a mountain path, sharp sounds of something breaking through the air suddenly came from both sides. A dense barrage of arrows shot towards them. Not good, enemy attack. Defend with all your might, Zhu Chuan shouted. On the other hand, Lu Ming, Xu Feiyun, and the others had already leaped into the air. Sword lights flashed and the arrows were cut in half in midair. Then, their true qi burst out and wrapped around the broken arrows. The arrows were reflected back at a speed faster than they were shot at. Ah! Ah! Then, a blood-curdling scream was heard. Rumble. At this moment, the sound of horse hooves came from the front, stirring up a cloud of dust. It was a group of over 100 people on war horses, rumbling as they approached. A group of people appeared in front of them. They were all strong and sturdy men. Their bodies were full of baleful aura, revealing that their cultivations were not weak. They were not something ordinary people could compare to. Hand over all your treasures and women, and you can get lost. The leader of the group, a burly man with a full beard, roared. Sure enough, they had encountered bandits. I think you're the ones who should get lost. Xu Feiyun shouted loudly and pounced out like lightning. His movement technique was very fast. Whoosh. Then, a sword light cut through the air and slashed towards the leader of the bandits. So powerful. The leader's expression changed drastically. He pulled out his broadsword and barely blocked a few moves before he was killed by Xu Feiyun's sword. The 9th master has been killed. Retreat. The other bandits were shocked. They retreated like a swarm of bees and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Aren't these bandits too weak? Xu Feiyun walked back and curled his lips. Young hero Xu, it's not that the bandits are weak. It's just that the stronger ones haven't appeared yet. The leader of the Yin Mountain Three Ghosts said. They had roamed the world for many years and knew that these bandits were not that simple. Next, be on full alert. Don't be careless. Zhu Chuan instructed. Yes. The guards of the Zhu family responded. Then, everyone continued to move forward. Sure enough, not long after, the deafening sound of horse hooves could be heard. They're here. Everyone knew that the Real challenge was coming. There's no end to these bandits. This time, I'll kill them all. Xu Feiyun's eyes flashed with a trace of fierceness. Rumble. In the midst of the dust, hundreds of people appeared in front of them. So many people. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Hundreds of people were densely packed in front of them. Who is it that dares to kill my 9th brother? Come out and die. The leader of the bandits was 7 feet tall. His body was full of muscles and he carried a broadsword on his back. His voice was loud like a bell and his aura was oppressive. Leader, it's that pretty boy who killed him. One of the bandits pointed at Xu Feiyun and shouted. So it's you. Pretty boy, come out and die. The leader roared. I think you're the one who's going to die. Xu Feiyun was proud and arrogant. At this time, he was looked down upon by a bandit. Suddenly, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He jumped down from the green scale horse and unsheathed his sword, charging towards the leader. Kill! The leader shouted. His tall figure also jumped down from the war horse and the broadsword in his hand slashed out a pale white blade light. Clang! The blade and sword clashed. Xu Feiyun's body trembled and he was forced to retreat. How can he be so strong? Xu Feiyun's face changed drastically. Trash. Kill. 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 The great head roared and slashed out with his saber. He slashed out a dozen times in a row. The blade light whistled and enveloped Xu Feiyun's body. Flying cloud sword technique. Xu Feiyun used all his strength and used the flying cloud sword technique. However, he still couldn't stop the leader. In just 10 moves, Xu Feiyun was sent flying and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The leader's cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level of the martial master realm. I'll deal with him. The leader of the 3 ghosts of Yinshan moved and rushed out. He used an iron rod and smashed it fiercely at the leader of the bandits. The iron rod smashed down, making a whistling sound as if the air was about to be smashed. The leader of the 3 ghosts of Yinshan was also at the peak of the 6th level of the martial master realm. It could be said that his cultivation was the highest among them. Clang! The blade and the iron rod clashed and the 2 of them took 3 steps back. There's actually an expert like you. But do you think you can do anything by yourself? Kill. The leader of the bandits waved his hand and hundreds of bandits rushed over. Protect the eldest miss. Zhu Chuan roared. Dozens of Zhu family guards surrounded the carriage of the eldest miss of the Zhu family. Swish. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold and he rushed out. Kai Kai. He used the flowing light sword technique and it was as fast as lightning. Every sword strike would cut the throat of several bandits. Chapter 65. Die. A burly man wielded a large axe and hacked at Lu Ming. This burly man was at the 5th level of the martial master realm. He was definitely a leader among the bandits. However, the 5th level of the martial master realm was nothing in Lu Ming's eyes. With a slight sway of his body, he dodged the axe. Then, with a flash of sword light, the burly man's throat was cut off. Kai Kai. Sword chi crisscrossed and no one was a match for him. In the blink of an eye, dozens of people died at Lu Ming's hands. The other 2 members of the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts and Xu Feiyun's side were about the same. Other than the leader, the other bandits were only at the peak of the 5th level of the martial master realm. They were not a match for them at all. Even if there were more people, it was useless. In just a moment, hundreds of people were killed. Not good, the enemy is too strong. Retreat. The leader roared. He had exchanged hundreds of blows with the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts, but there was no clear victor. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate today and prepared to retreat. Swish. At this moment, a figure jumped out from among the bandits like lightning and pounced towards the Zhu family's eldest daughter's carriage. This figure's speed was unbelievably fast. With a wave of his hand, true energy burst forth. It was even stronger than the leader's. 7th level of the martial master realm, the second brother of the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts shouted. Puff, puff. The strongest of the Zhu family guards was only at the 1st level of the martial master realm. It was impossible for them to contend against such an expert. More than 10 people were killed by the powerful true energy. It seemed that the figure was about to pounce on the Zhu family's eldest daughter's carriage. At this moment, the coachman, Uncle Fu, let out a long howl. Zhu Linshan, I knew you would come. Following that, Uncle Fu also leaped up and erupted with a powerful aura. He exchanged a few blows with the figure from before in the air. Boom. Boom. After a few consecutive explosions, energy overflowed in all directions. The 2 of them landed on the ground and retreated a few steps. This coachman is also at the 7th level of the martial master realm. Lu Ming, Xu Feiyun, and the others were all shocked. At this moment, everyone saw that the figure who launched the sneak attack was an old man of about 60 years old. Zhu Bing, hand over the vitality replenishing pill and Tong Zhu Linshan shouted. Hand it over. Let's see if you have the ability to do so. The coachman said coldly. At this moment, his body was no longer stooped. His figure was perfectly straight, and his aura was oppressive. Ta ta ta. The sound of horses galloping could be heard continuously. Then, a large group of people appeared on the mountain path. There were also figures flashing in the surrounding forest. In total, there were a few hundred people. They are all experts. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could tell that the people who appeared later were not the same as the bandits. They were all elites, well-trained, and powerful. Those bandits' faces were extremely ugly. The great leader shouted, "Everyone, your matter has nothing to do with us. Can you let us leave?" He wanted to cry. He was baffled. Wasn't it just a robbery? Putting aside the fact that he had encountered a group of experts, there was now a group of them. Zhu Linshan waved his hand and said, "Let them go." Immediately, those people opened up a path for the bandits to escape. After the bandits fled, 7 elders walked in front of Zhu Shanlin and bowed, "Patriarch. Patriarch Zhu." Lu Ming and the others' eyes moved, and they all retreated to the side of the carriage. "Zhu Linshan, it seems that your Zhu family is going all out this time." The coachman laughed without a trace of fear. "Zhu Bing, as the ancestor of the Zhu family, you actually played such a trick. How despicable." Zhu Linshan said with a gloomy face. "What? The ancestor of the Zhu family? The coachman is actually the ancestor of the Zhu family?" Yin San, 3 ghosts, Xu Feiyun, and the others were shocked. They looked at the coachman, who was the ancestor of the Zhu family, Zhu Bing with a puzzled face. But wasn't the ancestor of the Zhu family seriously injured and waiting for rescue in the Dark Blood Mountain? Could it be that everything the Zhu family said was false? Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of light. Sure enough, something was wrong. He had always felt that something was very strange. "Zhu Chuan, what's going on?" The leader of the 3 ghosts looked at Zhu Chuan gloomily. But Zhu Chuan smiled coldly and stood behind Zhu Bing. "Everyone, it seems that you've been deceived by the Zhu family. I'll tell you the truth. The person in the carriage is my granddaughter, Zhu Tong. Tong-er's father was injured and needed the vitality replenishing pill. She went to buy it, but she didn't expect to be caught by the Zhu family when she bought the vitality replenishing pill. Everyone, this matter is between my Zhu family and the Zhu family. It has nothing to do with you. I hope that you won't interfere. No matter how much money the Zhu family gave you, I'm willing to compensate you double." Zhu Linshan cupped his fists and said, "What?" Xu Feiyun and the others were a little stunned. The truth was completely opposite to what the Zhu family said. "Zhu Bing, Zhu Chuan, you dare to deceive us? We, the 3 ghosts of the Yin Mountain, are not so easy to deceive." The leader of the 3 ghosts of the Yin Mountain said coldly. His face was very ugly. The others were the same. "Hihi, if we don't do this, how can we lure out the Zhu family and make them come out in full force?" Zhu Bing smiled coldly. At this time, the sound of something breaking through the air came from the surrounding forest. Then, one figure after another appeared and surrounded the Zhu family. "Zhu Bing, you really did have an ambush, but your Zhu family and my Zhu family's strength are on par. Do you think you can destroy my Zhu family like this?" Zhu Linshan said. Zhu Bing smiled and said, "My Zhu clan is naturally unable to annihilate your Zhu clan by itself. But with the addition of the others, so long as they perish together with the elders of your Zhu clan, then would your Zhu clan still be a match for me? Haha. What? Zhu Bing, you actually want us to die together with the Zhu family's elders? I think you're crazy, right? Now, give us the rest of the reward, and we'll turn around and leave. I don't want to get involved in the mess between your 2 families." The leader of the 3 ghosts of the Yin Mountain looked at Zhu Bing as if he was looking at a madman. "That's right, give me the rest of the silver, and I can let bygones be bygones." Xu Feiyun's face was also very ugly. He was actually played around by the Zhu family. He secretly decided that after returning, he must lead the people of the Flying Cloud sect to teach the Zhu family a lesson. Lu Ming did not speak. He felt that things were not that simple. Give the silver, and you still want to leave? If you leave, how can I destroy the Zhu family? Zhu Bing smiled coldly. Old Zhu, are you fucking dreaming? Well, you don't want to give me the silver, right? I'll leave now, but I'm afraid you can't bear the anger of my Flying Cloud sect. Xu Feiyun was furious and turned to leave. Leave, can you leave? You're poisoned now, and you still want to leave? You're dreaming. Zhu Bing smiled coldly. Xu Feiyun's body suddenly trembled. He turned around and looked at Zhu Bing in disbelief, saying, You dare to poison me? The faces of the 3 ghosts of the Yin Mountain, including the middle-aged woman, were also very ugly. Chapter 66. That's impossible. I've checked every meal that we've eaten. There's no poison at all. The second brother of the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts shouted. Yin Old 2, I know you're a poison expert. Moreover, you Yin Mountain 3 ghosts have been roaming the underworld for many years and are very cautious. You're not as gullible as these kids. Do you think I'll give you a normal poison? Have you heard of the soul-devouring parasite? Zhu Bing smiled faintly. What? Parasite poison? Could it be the southern wasteland parasite poison? Yin Old 2 exclaimed. Haha, that's right. I've paid a huge price for this soul-devouring parasite. The soul-devouring parasite is just an extremely tiny parasite. It's impossible to distinguish it when it's placed in the food. Moreover, the common poison testing method is ineffective. Zhu Bing smiled proudly. Damn it. Old man, hand over the antidote. Otherwise, I'll destroy your entire Zhu family. Xu Feiyun roared furiously. Zhu Bing said faintly, unfortunately, there's no antidote for the soul-devouring parasite. What? No antidote? Yin Mountain 3 ghosts, Xu Feiyun, and the woman's faces were as pale as paper without a trace of blood. Old man, I'll kill you. Xu Feiyun revealed a look of despair and pounced towards Zhu Bing. Squeak squeak squeak. At this moment, Zhu Bing suddenly made a strange sound. As soon as this sound came out, Xu Feiyun's body suddenly stiffened. He then hugged his head with both hands and let out a shrill scream. Ah, it hurts. Xu Feiyun roared as he waved his long sword wildly and let out shrill screams. In just a few breaths, when Zhu Bing's voice stopped, Xu Feiyun also stopped. However, his eyes were dull as if he had lost his soul and stood there in a daze. Haha, you've been poisoned by the soul-devouring parasite. You're now my puppet and you still want to resist? Zhu Bing sneered. No, Yin Mountain 3 ghosts couldn't believe their eyes. Zhu Bing, there's a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword sect here. How dare you attack a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword sect? If this news gets out, your entire Zhu family will be destroyed. Old Yin Mountain shouted unwillingly. So what if you're from the Mystic Essence Sword sect? As long as you're dead, Zhu family. Alright, you guys can go together now. Zhu Bing said. Then, a squeaking sound came from his mouth. The Yin Mountain 3 ghosts and the others let out shrill screams. Attack! Zhu Linshan shouted and wanted to rush over to stop them, but the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts were all crazy and terrifying. They exchanged a few blows with the Zhu clan people and the Zhu clan people were forced to retreat. Even after being poisoned by the Jiyu poison, he was no longer afraid of death. Even his battle prowess had increased by a level. But at this moment, Zhu Bing cried out in disbelief, Lu Ming, why are you fine? At this moment, Lu Ming's face was calm as he stood there, watching everything. What's up? Why would something happen to me? I'm not poisoned. Lu Ming said with a smile. Not poisoned? That's impossible. I've checked every single time. You've eaten every single meal. How can you not be poisoned? Zhu Bing screamed in disbelief. Lu Ming and the others had their own tents. Every meal was sent to them by Zhu Bing, and he had checked every single time to ensure that nothing went wrong. He clearly remembered that Lu Ming had eaten every single meal. Have you forgotten that there are storage rings in this world? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Storage ring? No wonder. The disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect are indeed extraordinary. You even have a storage ring at such a young age. It seems that your status in the Mystic Essence Sword sect is not ordinary. Zhu Bing came to a realization. Of all his calculations, he had forgotten about the storage ring. Storage rings were not common goods. On the contrary, they were extremely rare and were basically monopolized by the major forces. Even if one had money, they couldn't buy them. For people like the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts, they could still take out hundreds of thousands of silver taels, but they didn't have storage rings because there was no place to buy them. There was a price but no market. But why are you so cautious? Even if you have a storage ring, you can't not eat at all, right? Zhu Bing asked curiously. Because there's something wrong with you. Lu Ming smiled faintly. From the first day we set off, I felt that something was wrong. The dignified Miss Zhu didn't dare to let anyone see her. Although you said that it was because she wasn't feeling well, there was nothing I could do. I'm a careful person, so I could only eat the dry food I brought. After that, Chen Xin was killed. That's even more suspicious. I observed him on the way. That old man Chen Xin kept glancing at the carriage. I reckon that he's a pervert. Moreover, he's seen Miss Zhu before. So that night, Chen Xin probably couldn't resist his lust and wanted to touch Miss Zhu. After that, he must have found out that this Miss Zhu was fake. That's why he was killed. How could an ordinary person kill him so easily? Now that I think about it, the one who killed him was you. Also, as far as I know, your Zhu family is not weak, but you only sent a few guards to escort me. Moreover, they're also weak. This is even more suspicious. With so many suspicious points, how could I dare to eat the food you sent? Lu Ming's analysis was clear and logical. Sigh, it's not easy to earn some money these days. In the end, Lu Ming let out a long sigh. Haha, I didn't expect you to be so meticulous at such a young age. But even if you weren't poisoned, so what? Today, you still have to die. Zhu Bing's eyes were full of killing intent. With a move of his hand, a long spear appeared in Zhu Bing's hand. Attack! Zhu Bing ordered. The experts of the Zhu family moved one after another and fought with the people of the Zhu family. At the same time, a squeaking sound came from his mouth. The three ghosts of Yinshan and the others let out beast-like roars and pounced on Zhu Linshan and the 7 elders of the Zhu family. Thus, a chaotic battle began. As soon as they started, the Zhu family was completely at a disadvantage. The 3 ghosts of Yinshan and the others were not afraid of death. They erupted with terrifying battle strength and entangled Zhu Linshan and the elders of the Zhu family. However, the elders of the Zhu family were free to kill the other experts of the Zhu family as if they were taking something from their pocket. Lu Ming, let me personally send you on your way. Bang! Zhu Bing stomped his foot and rushed toward Lu Ming like a cannonball. The long spear in his hand was like a bolt of lightning, stabbing straight at Lu Ming's throat. Swoosh! The long sword was unsheathed and the sword light exploded, colliding with the long spear. With a clang, Lu Ming's figure did not move, but Zhu Bing took 3 steps back. Zhu Bing's eyes were filled with disbelief as he roared, "How is this possible? How can a mere 5th-level martial master be so strong?" He was at the early 7th-level martial master, 2 levels higher than Lu Ming. It was simply unbelievable that he was repelled by Lu Ming in one move. Even a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword sect could not be so strong, right? Compared to Ning Feng, it's still a little lacking. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 67. Kill, I must kill him. This Lu Ming is definitely the top genius of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. If he escapes, the Zhu family will be annihilated. Zhu Bing roared in his heart as the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Boom! A powerful aura burst out as Zhu Bing activated his bloodline eruption. Zhu Bing's bloodline was a red snake, a rank 3 bloodline. After the bloodline eruption, his combat power increased by 30%. Die! Astral Fire Spear Art, Fire Dance. Zhu Bing rushed towards Lu Ming. With a wave of the spear in his hand, flaming flowers appeared and enveloped Lu Ming's body. Ultimate Flowing Light. Lu Ming used the fastest move of the Flowing Light Sword Art. Rays of sword light slashed out towards the flaming flowers. Clang! Clang! Dense sounds of collision rang out as sparks flew in all directions. Lu Ming's figure retreated a few steps. Such a powerful spear art. The power of this spear art has already surpassed my Flowing Light Sword Art. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He had already cultivated the Flowing Light Sword Art to the 5th level. Could it be that Zhu Bing had also cultivated a yellow-class upper martial skill to the 6th level? Otherwise, how could he be so strong? Astral Fire Spear Art, Chasing Lightning. Zhu Bing's figure swayed slightly as he thrust his spear towards Lu Ming. This spear was unbelievably fast, like a red lightning bolt. The spear pierced through the air and made an ear-piercing sound. Lu Ming took a step forward and used the dragon snake steps to dodge the spear. Kai. Astral fire spear art, moon seizing. After his spear missed, Zhu Bing's spear momentum changed as he swept his spear out. The spear swept out like a crescent moon. Clang. Lu Ming blocked with his sword and retreated at the same time, borrowing the force of the attack. This Zhu Bing's actual combat power is not as strong as Ning Feng's, but with this spear art, his strength is slightly above Ning Feng's. No, I must end this quickly. Lu Ming's mind raced. At this moment, the Zhu clan had already fallen into a disadvantageous position. He couldn't wait any longer. Otherwise, when the Zhu clan's elders were free to attack him together, he would have a headache. Thinking of this, Lu Ming rushed towards Zhu Bing. At the same time, his body flashed with a bloody light. Bloodline explosion. Die. Astral fire spear art, broken armor. Zhu Bing's spear stabbed towards Lu Ming. The tip of the spear faintly had a rotating cutting force. But Lu Ming didn't care. He just needed to avoid the real spear tip. Clang. Lu Ming swung his sword and blocked the spear. Then, he slid forward along the spear and punched out. He completely ignored the rotating cutting power of the spear. Lu Ming's bloodline was now at the 4th rank. When his bloodline activated, his battle prowess increased by 40%. This punch was unstoppable. Although Zhu Bing struck out with his other hand, he could only muster 50% of his true qi in a hurry. How could he block Lu Ming? Bang! With a loud bang, Zhu Bing's body shook violently. He retreated a dozen steps and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. Swoosh! Lu Ming executed the dragon snake steps. He covered 70 feet in one step and appeared in front of Zhu Bing instantly. A ray of sword gleam flashed past like a flying immortal. Poochie. Zhu Bing's head flew far away. His eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief. The Zhu family's ancestor, Zhu Bing, had tried his best, but he was killed by Lu Ming in a single strike. This Zhu family's ancestor actually has a storage ring. That's good for me. He saw clearly that the Zhu family's ancestor's spear appeared out of thin air. But thinking about it, the Zhu family's ancestor had lived for so many years. It was possible for him to find a way to get a storage ring. Lu Ming walked to Zhu Bing's corpse and took off the ring on his finger. He kept it in the Temple of Paragon. Then, a devouring force was produced and devoured Zhu Bing's blood essence. Ancestor. The ancestor is dead. The Zhu family's ancestor was killed, and the Zhu family was in chaos. Roar. Kill. Without the control of the Zhu family's ancestor, the Yin Mountain 3 ghosts and the rest roared and attacked randomly. Whether it was the Zhu family or the Zhu family, they attacked without any order. They were like crazy beasts. Retreat. At this moment, the Zhu family's patriarch, Zhu Linshan, and the rest quickly retreated and then attacked the rest of the Zhu family. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he looked around and sneered, "Zhu family, I, Lu Ming, am not that easy to deceive. You have to pay the price for deceiving me." Swoosh. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he charged towards the Zhu family's elders. Poochie. Poochie. The Zhu family's elders were all rank 6 martial masters, but they were no match for Lu Ming. Lu Ming's sword light flashed, leaving behind corpses. Their blood essence was devoured by Lu Ming. After killing the Zhu family's elders, Lu Ming did not continue to attack. Instead, his figure flashed and he focused on devouring the blood essence of those who had died in battle. As long as they were martial masters and above, their blood essence would be devoured by him. Hoo-hoo, waves of energy surged out from the bloodline and entered his body. They were absorbed by Lu Ming and transformed into true qi. When all the blood essence was refined, Lu Ming's cultivation level was raised to the peak of the intermediate 5th level martial master. He was one step away from the late 5th level martial master. At this moment, the battle was coming to an end. The Zhu family's patriarch and several elders were all killed by Lu Ming. How could the remaining elders be a match for Zhu Linshan and the rest? They were all killed one by one. Seeing this, the other Zhu family disciples lost their morale and fled for their lives. On the mountain path and in the forest, corpses were left behind. The smell of blood filled the air and it was like purgatory on earth. In this battle, The Zhu family left behind more than 200 corpses, while the Zhu family also lost more than 100 people. However, the upper echelons of the Zhu family did not die, while the upper echelons of the Zhu family were almost all dead. One could imagine that after this battle, the Zhu family would definitely be annexed by the Zhu family. However, Lu Ming did not care about all of this. Roar! Roar! The Yin Mountain three ghosts, Shu Feiyun and the rest were still roaring, but they had obviously exhausted their strength and collapsed on the ground. Soon, they stopped breathing. Young hero, thank you for saving me this time. At this moment, Zhu Linshan walked over and cupped his fists to Lu Ming. He bowed and sincerely thanked him. If Lu Ming had not taken action this time and killed the patriarch of the Zhu family and a few elders of the Zhu family, the outcome would have been completely reversed. He was sincerely grateful to Lu Ming. Patriarch Zhu, you're welcome. I was just protecting myself. Inside, he smiled and cupped his hands. Zhu Linshan smiled, but when his gaze landed on the sword in Lu Ming's hand, his expression suddenly changed and he cried out involuntarily, "Heavenly Star Sword, why is the Heavenly Star Sword in your hands?" As soon as these words came out, Lu Ming's heart suddenly trembled. His eyes flashed and he said, "How do you know the name of this sword? Do you know my father? Your father? Are you Brother Yuntian's son?" Zhu Linshan was pleasantly surprised. "That's right, I am Lu Yuntian's son." Lu Ming stared closely at Zhu Linshan. "Ha ha ha, back then, I personally gave this Heavenly Star Sword to your mother. How could I not know the name of this sword?" Chapter 68. Upon hearing this, Lu Ming's eyes widened and he said anxiously, "Are you saying that you were the one who gave my mother this sword back then?" "That's right." Zhu Linshan stroked his beard and nodded. "I remember that there was a bronze pendant in addition to this sword." Lu Ming no longer had any doubts. He cupped his fists and said, "Lu Ming greets Patriarch Zhu. Haha, long time no see. I didn't expect you to be so old and have such a high cultivation." Zhu Linshan laughed and said, "Let's go over there and talk." Soon, the two of them arrived at a hillside. Zhu Linshan told Lu Ming about him and Lu Yuntian. It turned out that 8 years ago, Zhu Linshan was in danger when he was traveling. It was Lu Yuntian who saved him. Later on, the two of them got along well and became close friends. About 7 years ago, Lu Yuntian found Zhu Linshan and gave him 2 things. One was the Heavenly Star Sword and the other was a bronze pendant. He also told Zhu Linshan that if something happened to him, he should wait for 2 years before secretly giving these 2 things to Li Ping. Lu Ming suddenly understood. No wonder Lu Yuntian said that something had happened to him and only sent these 2 things 2 years later. He had been curious about it before. "Patriarch Zhu, I want to know how my father died. Who killed him?" Lu Ming clenched his fists, his eyes full of murderous intent. Since Lu Yuntian had given these 2 things to Zhu Linshan in advance and said that something would happen to him, it was obvious that he knew who was after him. Who was after Lu Yuntian? Perhaps Zhu Linshan knew something. Sure enough, Zhu Linshan frowned and hesitated for a long time before saying, "Nephew Lu Ming, your father might not be dead." Rumble. It was as if thunder had exploded in Lu Ming's heart. Not dead. Lu Ming's eyes widened rapidly. Then, ecstasy filled his heart. Uncle Zhu, are you saying that my father is not dead? Then where is he? Why haven't you come home for so many years?" Lu Ming's heart was trembling. Even his voice was trembling. If my guess is correct, Brother Yuntian should be under someone's control. Zhu Linshan pondered for a moment and said, "It's under control? Who is it?" Lu Ming clenched his fists and asked with bloodshot eyes. Zhu Linshan frowned and said after a while, "Nephew, I can tell you, but you must promise me that you won't act rashly. Otherwise, you'll just die for nothing. Otherwise, I'd rather not tell you than let you die for nothing." Lu Ming took a deep breath to calm himself down and said, "Uncle Zhu, don't worry. I won't act rashly before I'm strong enough." Seeing Lu Ming's incomparably resolute gaze, Zhu Linshan let out a long sigh and said, "All right, I'll tell you. Brother Yuntian is very likely in the capital, and the person who acted should be someone from the 10 Directions sword sect. The Imperial City. 10 Directions Sword Sect. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly emitted a shocking light. Zhu Linshan was shocked and hurriedly said, "The Imperial City is now under the control of the 10 Directions Sword Sect. The 10 Directions Sword Sect is the head of the 5 sects of the Burning Sun Empire. Don't act rashly. Don't worry, Uncle Zhu. I know what to do." Lu Ming took a deep breath and said, "Among the 5 sects of the Burning Sun Empire, the 10 Directions Sword Sect was ranked first. It occupied a large area of fertile land in the center of the Burning Sun Empire. Its strength was so strong that even the Mystic Essence Sword Sect was inferior to it. Naturally, he would not act rashly to save his father. Otherwise, he would be killed before he could even see his father's face. His current strength was God knows how many times weaker than the entire 10 Directions Sword Sect. If my father is really under control and hasn't been killed for so many years, then it's obvious that my father has something that the 10 Directions Sword Sect needs. Then, he should be fine. But this kind of thing, no one can guarantee. Strength, I have to improve my strength faster. If I'm strong enough now, I can directly kill my way to the Imperial City and the 10 Directions Sword Sect. But, it won't take long. Father, it won't take long. I will definitely save you." Lu Ming clenched his fists. His eyes were extremely firm and his body was filled with a strong fighting spirit. "That's good. Alas, it's my fault that I'm not strong enough. For so many years, I've been thinking about Brother Yuntian, but I couldn't save him. Today, my nephew saved me. I owe you and your father too much." Zhu Linshan sighed. "Uncle Zhu, how can I blame you? After all, the other party is the 10 Directions Sword Sect. I'm already very grateful that you helped to give this sword to us." Lu Ming comforted him. But Zhu Linshan still sighed. After a while, he asked, "Nephew, where do you plan to go next?" "I plan to go to the Dark Blood Mountain. There's a mission there." Lu Ming did not hide it. "Dark Blood Mountain? It's not far from here. But there are many demon beasts in the Dark Blood Mountain. Nephew, you must be careful. I have to send Tonga back. Tonga's father needs the vitality replenishing pill. Nephew, if you have time, come visit the Zhu family." Zhu Linshan invited. "Okay, I'll definitely visit when I have time." "Then, Lu Ming will take his leave now." Lu Ming cupped his fists and bowed. Then, his figure flashed and he chose an azure scale horse on the mountain path. He rode on the azure scale horse and continued towards the Dark Blood Mountain. Looking at Lu Ming's departing figure, Zhu Linshan's eyes were filled with anticipation. He muttered to himself, "Brother Yuntian, nephew Lu Ming has joined the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. At such a young age, he already has such a cultivation. Perhaps, in the future, he can really save you." The azure scale horse galloped all the way. After galloping for more than 100 miles, Lu Ming stopped in a valley. Lu Ming sat on a piece of green rock, staring blankly. More than 6 years ago, when he first heard that something had happened to Lu Yuntian, he didn't believe it. He didn't believe that the indomitable man in his eyes would die. But as time passed, there was still no news of Lu Yuntian. Lu Ming gradually believed that Lu Yuntian was really dead. But today, he suddenly found out that Lu Yuntian might still be alive. He was extremely excited. If Mother knew this news, she would be so happy. "No, I can't let Mother know yet. If she knew that Father is in the hands of the 10 Directions Sword Sect, she would be even more worried. Father, you must wait for me. Ming-Er will definitely save you. I, Lu Ming, swear that no matter who you are, I will make you pay the price." Lu Ming's thoughts drifted, and the time when Lu Yuntian was still alive appeared in his mind. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming finally snapped out of his thoughts. Then, with a thought, Lu Ming appeared in the Temple of Paragon. He was now on the 2nd platform of the Temple of Paragon. As for the 3rd platform, he still couldn't go up. He didn't know what cultivation was required to go up. Then, Lu Ming picked up the storage ring he got from Zhu Bing. Chapter 69. His mind sank into the storage ring and a small space appeared in Lu Ming's mind. The space was about a square meter, about the same size as the storage ring he had obtained from Duanmu Ju. There were a few boxes scattered in the space. With a wave of his hand, the boxes appeared on the platform of the Temple of Paragon. First, a small box appeared in front of Lu Ming's eyes. The box was lined with gold and looked luxurious. When he opened the box, it turned out to be a book. The flaming astral spear art was a martial technique. Lu Ming couldn't help but recall the spear art Zhu Bing had used. Wasn't it called the flaming astral spear art? The power of the spear art was still fresh in his mind. He opened it expectantly. At one glance, Lu Ming was taken aback. A black-level martial technique. This spear art was a black-level martial technique. A low black-level martial technique, the flaming astral spear art. No wonder it's so powerful. It's a black-level martial technique. I'm rich. Lu Ming was ecstatic. A black-level martial technique was many times more valuable than a yellow-level martial technique. Lu Ming couldn't wait to read it. The more he read, the more shocked he was. What a strong power. Yellow-level martial skills are nothing compared to it. The difference is like heaven and earth. That Zhu Bing is probably only at the first level. Lu Ming muttered to himself. Generally speaking, as long as a low black-level martial technique was cultivated to the first level, its power would be comparable to the sixth level of a superior yellow-level martial technique. If the first level was comparable to the sixth level of a superior yellow-level martial technique, one could imagine how powerful a black-level martial technique was. But at the same time, a black-level martial technique was many times more difficult than a yellow-level martial technique. An ordinary martial master would have a hard time cultivating it. Unless one was a top genius. Zhu Bing had cultivated bitterly for several decades and had barely reached the first level. I wonder how many contribution points it would cost to exchange for a black-level martial technique in the Mystic Yuan Sword Sect's library. It's a pity that it's a spear art. I'm a swordsman, so I can't cultivate it. Lu Ming sighed. Wait. Lu Ming's eyes darkened, then brightened. He whispered, "Who said that I'm a swordsman? I cultivate the true dragon battle incantation, and what I cultivate is dragon-shaped true energy. My spear is like a dragon. Maybe I've been going in the wrong direction all this time." Lu Ming had always wanted to travel the world with a sword since he was young. However, during this period of time, the flowing light sword art had been stuck at the fifth level, unable to break through to the sixth level, man and martial arts as one. Of course. It had to do with one's personality, cultivation technique, and even the bloodline they had awakened. Lu Ming cultivated the true dragon battle art, so his bloodline was a little like a snake's. Wouldn't that make him more compatible with the spear? Lu Ming picked up Zhu Bing's spear and thrust it forward. Whoosh! The spear pierced through the air, making a sharp whistling sound. The moment Lu Ming thrust the spear, the dragon-shaped true qi in his body surged out along the spear. Crackle! A ray of spear light shot out like a dragon, piercing through the air and making crackling sounds. My true qi is smoother now. I'm indeed more suitable for spear practice. Lu Ming sighed. Looks like I'll have to cultivate my spear skills when I go back. But I'll put it aside for now. Let's see what's in the other boxes. Lu Ming put down the spear and looked at the other boxes. Two of the bigger boxes were filled with jewelry, gold, and silver. The other box, which was slightly smaller, was filled with gold and silver notes. One tael of gold was equivalent to 10 taels of silver. With a rough estimate, there were at least 2 million taels of silver in these boxes. This made Lu Ming ecstatic. 2 million taels of silver was equivalent to 20,000 contribution points. How much blood essence could he exchange for? This was not even a profound level martial skill. What about the astral fire spear art? This time, he did not come out for nothing. However, this time, Lu Ming truly understood what it meant to be dangerous in the pugilistic world. Not only was the competition in the Mystic Essence Sword sect fierce, it was even more fierce in other places. In order to survive, in order to obtain resources, people would fight endlessly. Even if you were a disciple of a big sect, you could die if you were not careful. Just like this time, Zhu Bing knew that he was a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, but still dared to attack him. If he was not careful enough, he would have become Zhu Bing's pawn and died under the poison. Everyone was fighting. If you did not move forward, you would be surpassed by others and become their stepping stone. Lu Ming was not willing to become someone's stepping stone, so he had to work hard. He wanted others to be his stepping stone. After checking, Lu Ming left the Temple of Paragon and continued to move towards the Dark Blood Mountain. A day later, a majestic mountain appeared in front of Lu Ming. The Dark Blood Mountain spanned thousands of miles. It was a very famous mountain in the east of the Blazing Sun Empire, because the entire Dark Blood Mountain was dark red. The earth was dark red, the stones were dark red, and even the plants were dark red as if they were soaked in blood. That was why it was called the Dark Blood Mountain. Legend had it that the Dark Blood Mountain was not originally like this. After an unknown period of time, a peerless expert once fought with someone. Blood spilled and seeped into the mountains and rivers. That was how the Dark Blood Mountain was formed. If this was true, it would be extremely shocking. What kind of existence was this? How could there be so much blood that it dyed the mountains red? Regardless of whether it was true or not, there were indeed some very strange treasures in the Dark Blood Mountain that attracted many people to search for them. For example, the blood flower and the dark bloodstone that Lu Ming needed for his mission were one of them. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming rushed into the Dark Blood Mountain. It was indeed very strange. The trees that entered his sight were all dark red. The stones under his feet were also dark red. Lu Ming moved forward, looking around to see if he could find the blood flower. Whoosh! Suddenly, a red light shot towards Lu Ming. Clang! He unsheathed his sword and cut the red light in half. Looking closely, it turned out to be a dark red scorpion. This scorpion was highly poisonous. Lu Ming slowed down and carefully observed his surroundings. A few miles later. Roar! Roar! More than a dozen dark red giant wolves surrounded Lu Ming. These were the unique dark blood wolves of the Dark Blood Mountain. They were 1.5 meters tall and 3 meters long. Each of them was a Class 1 LV2 demonic beast. There were even a few Class 2 LV2 demonic beasts. Roar! Roar! Chapter 70. Ultimate Flowing Light. The sword radiance flashed across the sky like lightning, causing blood to spurt out. When the sword radiance faded, more than a dozen dark blood wolves had been killed. Immediately, Lu Ming controlled his bloodline and devoured all the blood essence of the dark blood wolves. The blood essence of the dark blood wolves is rich in life essence. Lu Ming's eyes lit up during the refining process. He found that the blood essence of the dark blood wolves contained twice as much life essence as other beasts of the same level. The blood essence of a Class 1 LV2 dark blood wolf was almost comparable to that of a Class 2 LV2 beast. The blood essence of a Class 2 dark blood wolf was almost comparable to that of a Class 3 LV2 beast. Are all the beasts in the Dark Blood Mountain like this? The life essence in their blood essence is richer than that of the beasts outside. Lu Ming guessed in his heart. Then, he continued to move forward. He encountered many beasts along the way, but they were all killed by Lu Ming. Sure enough, regardless of the species of the beasts here, the life essence of the beasts was indeed richer. However, most of them were Class 1 or 2 Class 2 LV2 beasts. A few of them had reached Class 4 or 5 Class 2 LV2, which had a limited effect on Lu Ming. In this way, Lu Ming hunted beasts in the Dark Blood Mountain while searching for blood flowers. However, 3 days had passed, and Lu Ming had not found a single blood flower. The efficiency was really low. As for the dark bloodstone that Lu Ming needed the most, there was no trace of it. Lu Ming had no choice but to continue searching. He would treat it as cultivation. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. In total, Lu Ming had been in the Dark Blood Mountain for 10 days. At this time, Lu Ming finally found a blood flower. After so many days, his cultivation had improved to the late stage of the martial master realm, and he was not far from the peak. Hiss! A dark red anaconda was slithering at high speed and Lu Ming was hot on its heels. This giant python was a demonic beast at the peak of Class 6 LV2. It was rare to encounter such a high-level demonic beast in the Dark Blood Mountain. Lu Ming did not want to let it go. However, The python's speed was extremely fast. With a twist of its body, it covered a distance of tens of meters. Even with Lu Ming's dragon snake steps, he was unable to catch up to it. The snake and the man kept running forward. Before he knew it, he had already traveled several dozen li and arrived at a dense forest. At this time, the giant python gradually slowed down. "Let's see where you can run to now." Lu Ming smiled, and the sword light slashed towards the giant python. Hiss! The giant python hissed and spat out wisps of poisonous gas at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure flashed and dodged the attack. Then, he took a step forward and rushed towards the giant python. The sword light flashed and left a long wound on the giant python's body. Fresh blood flowed out. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. He felt a burning pain on his skin, as if it was being corroded by something. What happened? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. I clearly dodged the giant python's poisonous gas. How did this happen? Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he scanned his surroundings. At this moment, he realized that there was a faint dark red blood chi in the air. If one didn't pay attention, they wouldn't be able to see it. Could it be that this blood chi is poisonous? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He immediately circulated his true chi and covered his entire body to resist the blood chi. Hiss! When the blood chi collided with the true chi, it actually made a sizzling sound, as if it was corroding the true chi. What a powerful poison chi! At this moment, the giant python was dragging its injured body and swimming forward. Lu Ming went over and cut off the giant python's head. Then, with a thought, the blood chi that looked like a small snake appeared. It opened its mouth and sucked. 9 drops of blood essence flew out from the giant python's body and were swallowed by the small snake. However, it wasn't over yet. The small snake continued to suck. The red blood chi beside Lu Ming was directly sucked into the small snake's mouth. Then there was a sizzling sound, as if the blood chi was being refined. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. How could this work? But this way, there was no more blood chi around Lu Ming's body. The feeling of corrosion on his skin also disappeared without a trace. This is good too. I can take a look at what this place is. A smile appeared on Lu Ming's face. He continued to move forward. The more he moved forward, the denser the red blood chi became. However, the small snake kept absorbing. There was always a vacuum around Lu Ming's body, and the blood chi couldn't enter. This blood chi was swallowed and refined by the spirit-devouring bloodline, and it would also be transformed into wisps of energy. However, this energy wasn't very strong and wasn't very useful for improving one's cultivation. After moving forward for a few thousand meters, a faint smell of blood came. Lu Ming's face changed slightly. After moving forward for another 100 meters, a pool appeared in front of Lu Ming. This pool wasn't big, only 10 meters in length and width. However, there wasn't water in the pool, but a dark red liquid. The pool was filled with a dark red liquid that looked like fresh blood. The faint smell of blood was obviously coming from the pool. The smell of blood in the air was also emitted from the pool. There were small red flowers growing on the edge of the pool. Looking at these small flowers, Lu Ming was ecstatic. Blood-lingering flowers, these are all blood-lingering flowers. Ha ha ha, it's really easy to find them by chance. Lu Ming laughed. Then, Lu Ming walked to the edge of the pool and carefully picked the flowers. The liquid in the pool was obviously poisonous. Lu Ming didn't want to touch it. Half an hour later, all the blood-lingering flowers were picked by Lu Ming. There were a total of 54 flowers. Including the one he found earlier, there were 55 flowers. This was a big harvest. One flower was 100 contribution points. 55 flowers would be 5,500 contribution points. After picking, Lu Ming looked at the liquid in the pool again. Although the liquid was poisonous, it obviously contained powerful energy essence. Otherwise, it couldn't have nurtured so many blood-lingering flowers. Can the spirit-devouring bloodline devour and refine this liquid? Lu Ming pondered. Let's try devouring a drop first. Lu Ming's eyes hardened. If he wanted to quickly improve his cultivation and embark on the path of martial arts experts, it was impossible to not take some risks. Then, Lu Ming ran his true qi and scooped up a drop of the red liquid. He then controlled his bloodline to devour this drop of liquid. Sizzle. Lu Ming seemed to be able to feel a sizzling sound in his bloodline. Then, a surge of energy entered Lu Ming's body. It really works. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Then, Lu Ming sat cross-legged beside the pool and controlled the spirit-devouring bloodline to devour and refine the liquid. Of course, Lu Ming didn't dare to devour too much at once. Instead, he devoured it in wisps. Indeed, the spirit-devouring bloodline devoured and refined this liquid much slower than the blood essence of demonic beasts. However, it was still many times faster than directly absorbing the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Lu Ming's cultivation began to rise rapidly again. Half a day later, Lu Ming reached the peak of the 5th level of the martial master realm. 3 days later, Lu Ming broke through and reached the 6th level of the martial master realm. But it wasn't over yet. Lu Ming continued to cultivate. This cultivation lasted for more than 20 days. In total, Lu Ming had cultivated here for a month. Chapter 71. In just over a month, Lu Ming's cultivation had increased by 2 levels. This speed was extremely shocking. The liquid here might be poisonous to others, but to me, it's a treasure. Unfortunately, this is something that can only be found by chance. Lu Ming thought to himself. Then, he opened his mouth and spat out a column of air. It was like a sharp sword that shot out a few meters away. 7th grade martial master is indeed powerful. It's much stronger than a 5th grade martial master. Now, I can fight with Ning Feng in one move. Feeling the dragon-shaped qi surging in his body, Lu Ming was overjoyed. Rustle. At this moment, a rustling sound was heard. The sound came from the pit. When Lin Fan looked over, he saw a dark red worm crawling in the pit. This worm was thicker than a thumb and more than a foot long. Its body was crystal clear like blood jade and it had a mouthful of sharp fangs. When it saw Lu Ming, it seemed to be shocked. It twisted its body and quickly shot into the distance. This is a blood breath worm. Lu Ming was stunned for a moment before he was overjoyed. According to the records, the blood breath worm was accompanied by dark bloodstones. This meant that there would definitely be dark bloodstones where the blood breath worm lived. He did not expect that there would be a blood breath worm in this pond. Without hesitation, Lu Ming rushed over and followed closely behind the blood breath worm. When the blood breath worm saw Lu Ming chasing after it, it twisted its body even faster and rushed forward. You want to leave? It's not that easy. Lu Ming smiled faintly and strode forward, following closely behind the blood breath bugs. After about 1,000 meters, the blood breath worm suddenly drilled into the ground and disappeared. Oh no, the blood breath worm can drill into the ground. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He rushed over, but the blood breath worm had already disappeared. Swish. Lu Ming leaped onto a big tree and scanned the surroundings. Indeed, not long after, the blood breath worm drilled out of the ground 100 meters away and rushed forward. I can't get too close. That will only disturb it and prevent it from running back to its resting place. At that moment, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he leaped onto another big tree. Just like that, he leaped on the tree trunk, restrained his aura, and followed closely behind the blood breath worm. They crossed over mountains and valleys and traveled for dozens of miles. At this moment, the blood breath bug stopped again. It drilled into the ground and disappeared. Could it be here? Lu Ming pondered for a moment. He wasn't in a hurry to rush out. Instead, he began to observe. After a while, there was still no movement. Lu Ming was certain that the habitat of the blood breath worms should be here. Lu Ming moved to the place where the blood breath bugs had disappeared. Looks like it's here. The dark blood stone should be below. Then, he took out the black-edged sword that he used before and used it as a shovel to dig. With Lu Ming's cultivation and the sharpness of the obsidian sword, the speed at which he dug out the rocks was extremely fast. Soon, he dug out a deep pit that was a few meters deep. At this moment, a red light shot out with a swoosh. It was the blood breath bug. After the blood breath bug rushed out, it didn't stop and ran away. Lu Ming ignored it and continued to dig. Soon, a faint fragrance wafted out. It smelled like sandalwood. Lu Ming perked up. According to the records, although the dark bloodstone was called the dark bloodstone, it didn't have the smell of blood. Instead, it had the smell of sandalwood. With this smell, it meant that there must be a dark bloodstone here. Lu Ming dug even harder. As a rock was dug out, a thick fragrance wafted out. Below, a fist-sized stone that was covered with blood-colored lines appeared before Lu Ming's eyes. It was the dark bloodstone. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He took out the dark bloodstone and looked at it carefully. This was required for the 3rd or even the 4th level of the true dragon of battle art. After looking at it, he kept it in the Temple of Paragon. But in the next moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. This was because there was a sandalwood fragrance wafting out from below. Is there another dark bloodstone? Lu Ming was overjoyed. He quickly dug with all his might. Sure enough, he didn't dig too deep before he found another dark bloodstone. It was still the size of a fist and emitted a strong sandalwood fragrance. Ha ha ha, I'm so lucky. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He took out the dark bloodstone. But there was still a sandalwood fragrance wafting out from below. There's more? This time, even Lu Ming was a little stunned. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. He heard the sound of something breaking through the air. There's a sandalwood fragrance. It's the dark bloodstone. Hurry up. There was a commotion. Then, 5 to 6 figures appeared. Swoosh, swoosh. In the forest, 6 figures suddenly appeared and surrounded Lu Ming. They didn't hide their auras at all. They burst out and shrouded Lu Ming. 4 of them were level 7 martial masters and 2 were at the peak of level 6 martial masters. There were men and women among the 6, but they were all very young. They were about 18 or 19 years old. At this moment, the 6 of them were looking at the big hole that Lu Ming had dug. There is indeed a dark bloodstone. Kid, you can get lost now. The dark bloodstone here belongs to us. A hook-nosed young man looked at Lu Ming and said coldly, Everyone, I found this place first. Lu Ming smiled faintly. So what if you found it first? It belongs to us now. The hook-nosed young man sneered. He was extremely arrogant. So you want to rob me? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly, looking calm and collected. Kid, you are courting death. The hook-nosed young man shouted coldly. Then, he clawed at Lu Ming. 5 sharp claw radiances pierced Lu Ming's chest. Boom. Lu Ming threw a punch. Bam. Crack. There was a loud bang followed by a cracking sound. Then, the hook-nosed young man screamed miserably and retreated a dozen steps. One of his hands was trembling non-stop and blood kept flowing out. His 5 fingers had been broken by Lu Ming's punch. Brat, how dare you? Do you know who we are? We are disciples of the Black Essence Sword Sect's Azure Dragon Hall. How dare you injure me? You are dead. Ah, my hand. The hook-nosed young man screamed and roared. Disciples of the Azure Dragon Hall? No wonder your cultivation is not weak at such a young age. Lu Ming's expression changed. You. I remember now. You are Lu Ming, this year's newcomer King Lu Ming. I saw you from afar at the end of the previous trial. Suddenly, a female disciple shouted. What? He is Lu Ming. The others could not help but exclaim. I didn't expect you to recognize me. Lu Ming touched his nose and smiled faintly. Lu Ming, although you are the newcomer king, let me give you a piece of advice. Quickly get out of the way and leave. We can pretend that nothing happened today. This is because senior brother Yarrow Tianyu needs the dark bloodstone. We are also under senior brother Yarrow Tianyu's orders to look for the dark bloodstone. The woman's tone was filled with confidence. Chapter 72. Who would have known that Lu Ming's next sentence almost caused her to suffer internal injuries? Who is Yarrow Tianyu? What does it have to do with me that he needs the dark bloodstone? Now, get lost. I'll let you go since we're both from the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Lu Ming waved his hand impatiently. You. How dare you? Senior brother Yarrow Tianyu is a genius on the bronze list. He's the leader of all the bronze disciples. Are you tired of living? The young lady shouted angrily, her face flushed red. So you're on the bronze list. No wonder you're so arrogant. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. The bronze list was a list of the mystic essence sword sect's 4 great halls. Those who could be on the list were the top geniuses among the bronze disciples. Each one of them was terrifyingly strong. They stood at the peak of the bronze disciples. But what did it have to do with Lu Ming? Who cares if she's a bronze list disciple? Does that mean she can snatch my dark bloodstone? When the lady saw Lu Ming in a daze, she thought that Lu Ming was scared after hearing about the bronze list. She sneered and said, Lu Ming, hand over the dark bloodstone now and follow us to kowtow to senior brother Yarrow Tianyu. Perhaps senior brother Yarrow Tianyu will let bygones be bygones. Hand over the dark bloodstone? Kowtow to apologize? Lu Ming looked at the lady strangely as if he was looking at an idiot. He then said, You're all bronze disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Is there something wrong with your brains? The young lady was stunned and only reacted after a while. She was trembling with anger and shrieked, Lu Ming, what did you say? You're courting death. Why are you talking nonsense with him? Let's attack together and cripple him. We'll bring him to senior brother Yarrow Tianyu and let him deal with him. The hook-nosed youth shouted with a sinister face. Attack. The 6 of them attacked at the same time towards Lu Ming. Sword chi, saber light, claw energy, palm wind instantly covered Lu Ming's body. You're courting death. Lu Ming's eyes darkened, and with a movement of his hand, the heavenly star sword appeared in his hand. Sword light flashed, and he instantly slashed out over 10 times. Ah! Ah! 6 blood-curdling screams were heard as the 6 youths from the Everdragon Institute quickly retreated. The 6 of them retreated more than 10 steps before they could regain their footing. On each of their chests, there was a deep sword wound that was bleeding profusely. He had injured 6 people with a single strike. How can he be so strong? How could this be? More than a month ago, I heard that he defeated Ning Feng, but it was only a difficult victory. It has only been a month, how can he be so strong? The 6 young men's faces were deathly pale, without a trace of blood. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Go. Let's go. This person is undefeatable. That woman screamed, quickly backing up, almost scared out of her wits. Whoosh. Whoosh. The other 5 people didn't dare to stay any longer and ran for their lives. Lu Ming's eyes flickered a few times, but he didn't pursue. The 6 of them had scattered and fled. He did not have the confidence to capture all of them. After that, Lu Ming continued to dig. Next, Lu Ming dug out 2 more dark bloodstones. There were a total of 4 dark bloodstones in this place. It's enough. Lu Ming laughed. After checking that there were no more dark bloodstones, Lu Ming turned around and left. Blood-lingering flower and dark bloodstone have been found. It's time to return to the sect. Lu Ming smiled. Although there were some twists and turns on this trip, everything went smoothly. His figure didn't stop as he headed out of the Dark Blood Mountain. On the way, he encountered a lone dark blood wolf. He tamed it and used it as a mount. The green scale horse had been left outside for so long. He didn't know where it had run off to. This dark blood wolf was a Class 2 second LV. It was extremely strong and powerful. It was not comparable to the green scale horse. Crossing over the mountains was like walking on flat ground. Soon, he was out of the Dark Blood Mountain and headed in the direction of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. In the depths of the Dark Blood Mountain, a figure was sitting cross-legged on a large rock on a mountain peak. This figure appeared to be around 17 years old. He had a handsome appearance and a stern expression. Just by sitting there casually, he emitted a sharp aura. On the side, there were a dozen young men standing there, not daring to breathe. These young men included the 6 young men from before. Senior brother Yarrow, this is what happened. The hook-nosed young man reported. This cold young man was the genius on the bronze list, Yarrow Tianyu. In the martial world, the strong came first. Although Yarrow Tianyu was young, the others still respectfully called him senior brother. Yarrow Tianyu frowned slightly and said, You mean, there might be more than one dark bloodstone, and all of them are in the hands of that Lu Ming? That's right, senior brother Yarrow. That Lu Ming is extremely arrogant. Not only did he injure us, but he also didn't give you any face. We said your name, but Lu Ming said, who is Yarou Tianyu? The hook-nosed young man hurriedly replied. Of course, there was a lot of exaggeration. The other 5 people's eyes flashed, but they didn't refute the hook-nosed young man. He. After Yarou Tianyu heard, he let out a cold smile and said, are all the newcomers now so arrogant? Lu Ming, newcomer king? Dare to be arrogant in front of me? Wait a few years. Then, his gaze swept across the crowd and said, go, find Lu Ming for me. As long as he's still in the Dark Blood Mountain, I won't let him return to the Vermilion Bird Courtyard. Yes. The young men responded loudly. Then, their figures flickered and they went down the mountain peak, disappearing into the forest of the Dark Blood Mountain. Lu Ming, Yarou Tianyu whispered as killing intent flashed in his eyes. The Dark Blood Wolf was as fast as lightning, and its speed was much faster than the Greenscale Horse. In less than 7 days, Lu Ming came to Yukong City again. When he passed by the Zhu family, he found that the Zhu family was already empty. Even the door was covered with spider webs. It seemed that the Zhu family had been destroyed by the Zhu family. The divine wilderness continent was like this. Strength was respected. Every day was filled with slaughter. Who knew how many forces were destroyed every day? Lu Ming shook his head and found a restaurant. He ordered some dishes and wine and started eating. Unknowingly, his thoughts drifted to Firestorm City. Yukong City is not far from Firestorm City. It's only a 3-day journey. I don't need 3 days to ride the Dark Blood Wolf. Why don't I go back and see my mother? Lu Ming thought. It had been almost 4 months since he came out. It was time to go back and see. After hurriedly finishing his meal, he went down the restaurant and headed towards Firestorm City. In just a little more than 2 days, he arrived at Firestorm City. Roar. Walking on the streets of Firestorm City, the Dark Blood Wolf let out a long roar, scaring everyone on the street. What a terrifying demon beast, let's go. Go and ask the experts of the Lu family to suppress it. The demon beast has entered the city. Hey! No, look, isn't that the young master of the Lu family, Lu Ming? It's him, it's really him. There was an uproar nearby. The others distanced themselves from Lu Ming, afraid that they would be bitten to death by the Dark Blood Wolf. Bang! Lu Ming slapped the neck of the Dark Blood Wolf, almost slapping it down. What are you shouting for? Behave yourself. Lu Ming scolded. Woo woo, the Dark Blood Wolf barked like a domestic dog. It was very obedient. Chapter 73. The Dark Blood Wolf followed behind Lu Ming like a puppy. Soon, they arrived at the Lu family mansion. Who's there? Stop. Ah! It's the young master, it's the young master. The guard in front of the Lu clan's residence shouted. However, he immediately reacted and shouted. The young master is back. Please come in. The guard hurriedly said. Lu Ming smiled and nodded. He walked into the Lu family mansion with the Dark Blood Wolf. Greetings, young master. The young master is back. The young master is back. After entering the Lu family mansion, the Lu family members greeted Lu Ming respectfully when they saw him. Then, the news quickly spread throughout the Lu family. The young master is so powerful. He has such a powerful beast with him. Yeah, I feel that this beast is scarier than many of the elders. It is so obedient in front of the young master. That's for sure. The young master is a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Some of the Lu family servants looked at Lu Ming from afar, especially the Dark Blood Wolf. They were talking about it with respect. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and touched his nose. He just caught a Dark Blood Wolf for transportation. He did not expect it to cause such a stir. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the main family mansion. At the entrance of the main family mansion, Li Ping was already waiting. Apparently, she had heard the news. Ming-er. At the sight of Lu Ming, Li Ping revealed a happy smile. Mother, I'm back to see you. Lu Ming said affectionately. He then patted the Dark Blood Wolf's neck and said, lie down at the entrance and don't move. Otherwise, I'll kill you to go with my wine. Woo woo. The dark blood wolf cried out pitifully and lay down on the ground obediently. Li Ping and the maidservants behind her were dumbfounded by what they saw. "Mother, let's talk inside," Lu Ming said. Okay. Li Ping said. In the courtyard of the main family mansion, there was a stone table. Li Ping's maids had already prepared snacks and tea. "Ming, how have you been?" Li Ping asked with concern. Looking at Li Ping's concerned eyes, Lu Ming felt warm in his heart. "Don't worry, I'm fine. Don't you think I've gotten stronger?" After saying that, he even waved his arm. "Look at how proud you are." Then, she changed the topic and asked, "Ming, what about Mid-Autumn Moon? Didn't they come back together?" Lu Ming smiled and said, "Mother, Autumn Moon is fine. She is now a genius disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword sect." Lu Ming briefly recounted what had happened to them during this period of time. Of course, Lu Ming skipped over everything that involved danger, lest Li Ping worry. "I didn't expect Autumn Moon to be so talented. I'm really happy for her." Hearing that Autumn Moon had joined the most mysterious and powerful Qilin courtyard of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, Li Ping was also very happy. Autumn Moon had been with her for many years. She treated Autumn Moon like her own daughter. Now that Autumn Moon had made a name for herself, she was naturally happy. The mother and son chatted one after another. Roar. Suddenly, a loud roar came from outside the door. It was the roar of the dark blood wolf. "Young master, it's us." Then, an old voice was heard. "Core elders of the elders' courtyard." Lu Ming's expression changed. He quickly got up and walked out of the door. At this moment, the dark blood wolf stood at the door. Its red fur stood up as it stared at the 5 old men. These 5 old men were the core elders of the elders' courtyard. "What are you doing? Lie down." Lu Ming slapped the dark blood wolf again. The dark blood wolf whimpered and lay down on the ground obediently. "Young master, is this your battle beast? It's so powerful." "I'm afraid it's a Class 2 second LV," a core elder said. He looked at the dark blood wolf with fear in his eyes. A Class 2 second LV was equivalent to a LV2 martial master. In the Lu family, most of the elders were only at LV1 martial master. Only a small number of elders and the core elders of the elders' courtyard were above LV2 martial master. This dark blood wolf could be considered a top expert in the Lu family. Young master actually had such a demonic beast as a battle beast. Amazing. The core elders thought in their hearts. "Oh, this dark blood wolf. It's not my battle beast. I caught it on the way. It's not bad. It's faster than the cyan scale horse." Lu Ming said casually. "Ah, what? You caught it on the way?" The 5 core elders were stunned. Then, they exchanged glances with one another, somewhat doubtful of what Lin Fan had said. "Elders, why are you looking for Lu Ming? Is anything the matter?" Lu Ming asked. "It's nothing. Young master hasn't returned for a long time, so we came to see him." The 5 core elders looked at each other and one of them said. Lu Ming frowned slightly. He felt that the 5 core elders were hiding something from him. Elders, something bad has happened." At this moment, a burly man rushed over and shouted anxiously. The 5 core elders' faces suddenly changed. They asked in unison, "What happened?" The middle-aged burly man looked at the 5 core elders, then looked at Lu Ming and said, "The sand snake bandits and dry bone bandits are attacking again. This time, they are attacking the refined iron ore in the south. The refined iron ore is now surrounded." "What? They are attacking the refined iron ore? Damn it." One of the core elders roared. The other core elders looked worried as well. "Elders, what's going on?" Lu Ming asked. "Young master, it's like this," one of the core elders immediately explained. The Demon Beast mountain range stretched for thousands of miles across several cities. There were many bandits active in the Demon Beast mountain range. The Sand Snake bandits were near Firestorm City. As for the Dry Bone bandits, they were active in another big city. They were much stronger than the Sand Snake bandits. About half a month ago, the Sand Snake bandits and Dry Bone bandits suddenly colluded and started attacking some of the Lu family's mines and caravans. The Lu family naturally organized experts to surround and suppress them. However, there were many experts among the Dry Bone Bandits. The leader of the Dry Bone Bandits was a Martial Master Realm Level 5 expert. A few days ago, the Lu family's core elders were mobilized. However, the strongest core elder of the Lu family, a Martial Master Realm Level 4 expert, was injured by the leader of the Dry Bone Bandits. He couldn't even get out of bed now. Sand Snake Bandits and Dry Bone Bandits. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He was familiar with the Sand Snake Bandits. His first startup capital was stolen from the Sand Snake Bandits' lair. How audacious! How dare they attack my Lu clan? Let's go. I'll go destroy them. Lu Ming said coldly. Young master, don't act rashly. The leader of the Dry Bone Bandits is a Martial Master Realm Level 5 expert. I know that young master is talented. However, you have just joined the Mystic Essence Sword sect. We can only defend first. After all, the Sand Snake Bandits and Dry Bone Bandits are few in number. It's impossible for them to break through. Hearing that Lu Ming was going to kill them, the 5 core elders' faces changed and they hurriedly advised him. That's right. Ming, don't act rashly. Chapter 74. Mother, 5 elders, don't worry. It's just 2 groups of bandits. I can wipe them out with a flip of my hand. You don't have to worry. Just send someone to lead the way. Lu Ming smiled confidently. All right, but we have to go together. One of the core elders said. Lu Ming smiled. He knew that the core elders were worried about his safety, so he didn't reject them. Ming, you must be careful. Li Ping said worriedly. Mother, don't worry. I'll be back soon. Lu Ming smiled confidently at Li Ping. Seeing Lu Ming's confident smile, Li Ping's worry lessened a little. Not long after, the Lu family gathered their men and headed towards the refined iron mine in the southern part of the Beast Mountain range under the lead of the core elders. The refined iron mine was the main source of income for the Lu family. Of course, there were also many troops stationed there. In the past, a lone viper bandit would never have dared to attack the refined iron mine. But it was different now with the dried bone bandits. Rumble. The sound of horses galloping could be heard. The Lu family had mobilized hundreds of men, stirring up a cloud of dust. A huge mountain appeared in front of them. In front of the mountain, there were 300 to 400 men surrounding the entrance. 2 flags were raised high. One had a snake on it, while the other had a skull on it. Ha ha ha, the Lu family has indeed sent reinforcements. Among the bandits, there was a loud laugh. A strong man, riding a tall green scale horse, blocked in front of them. Viper bandits, dried bone bandits. How dare you attack the Lu family? You're courting death. Lu Ming rode on the dark blood wolf and took the lead, shouting coldly. Young master, don't be careless. This man is the second leader of the dried bone bandits. His cultivation has reached the 4th grade martial master. A core elder hurriedly reminded him. When the burly man saw Lu Ming, he was stunned. Then, he turned to the dark blood wolf under Lu Ming. His eyes narrowed. Then, a fiery light flashed. Haha, it seems like there's really no one left in the Lu clan. After beating up the old one, now there's a brat who's still wet behind the ears. Are they all here to die? The second leader of the withered bone bandits sneered and continued, You said that your mount isn't bad. Quickly hand it over and I'll give you a quick death. Give me a quick death. Lu Ming sneered as he controlled the dark blood wolf and walked forward step by step. How ignorant. I'm ignorant. Don't think that you can scare me just because you have a powerful demonic beast as a mount. Let's see how I kill you. Go. The second leader of the dry bone bandits roared. He controlled the green scale horse and rushed toward Lu Ming like a gust of wind. The war blade in his hand was like a gust of wind as it slashed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming sat motionless on the dark blood wolf as if he was frightened. Young master, be careful. The 5 core elders were shocked and shouted one after another. Ha, die. The second leader of the dry bone bandits sneered as murderous intent flashed in his eyes. However, The next moment, the smile on his face disappeared because he saw a sword light that seemed to be faster than lightning slashing toward him. He had no time to dodge at all. He couldn't even react in time, let alone dodge. Then, he felt a chill on his neck. The next moment, he saw a headless corpse galloping forward on the green scale horse. Then, he was plunged into endless darkness. One slash. Behind him, the 5 core elders of the Lu clan and the rest of the Lu clan were all stunned. The second leader of the Dry Bone Bandits was a 4th grade martial master expert. In their eyes, he was an unreachable existence. However, he was killed by Lu Ming with 1 slash. It had only been a few months and the young master's cultivation had already reached such a level. That thought appeared in the minds of the Lu clan members. Then, their hearts burned with excitement and their eyes were full of anticipation. Lu Ming was already so powerful in such a short period of time. What level could Lu Ming reach in a few years or even decades? They could almost see the rapid rise of the Lu clan. The second leader is dead. The second leader is dead. The Dry Bone Bandits cried out in alarm. Who is it? How dare you kill my second brother? A loud roar came from the Withered Bone Bandits. A burly man riding a leopard rushed out of the crowd with a thunderous roar. Young master, he's the leader of the Dry Bone Bandits. One of the core elders said. Just kill him. Following Lu Ming's cold voice, he dashed out from the dark blood wolf, traversed more than 20 meters, and landed on the ground. He then stomped heavily on the ground. With a bang, the ground shook and Lu Ming's body shot out like a cannonball. In an instant, he was in front of the leader of the Dry Bone Bandits. How can he be so fast? The leader of the Dry Bone Bandits was shocked. Lu Ming was so fast that he was shocked. Die! The leader of the Dry Bone Bandits roared and slashed with all his might, trying to force Lu Ming to retreat. However, he was in despair the next moment. Whoosh! Lu Ming's sword light was so fast that he couldn't dodge it in time. Poochie! A head flew high and landed in the middle of the Dry Bone Bandits. The entire place fell into silence. Kill! Lu Ming's roar woke everyone up. Kill! Kill! Follow the young master and kill all the bandit. Let's charge together. The 5 core elders roared with all their might. Their faces were flushed with excitement as they rode on their green scale horses and charged towards the Sand Snake Bandits and Dry Bone Bandits. Kill! Follow the young master and kill all the bandit. The rest of the Lu family roared. Hundreds of people roared together and their morale was high. On the other hand, the Dry Bone Bandits were scared out of their wits after being killed by Lu Ming. They didn't have the courage to resist and retreated. It was chaos. At this moment, a group of people rushed out of the Lu family's refined iron mine, causing the 2 groups of bandits to be even more chaotic. Lu Ming charged into the bandits. His sword light flashed and rows of bandits were killed. These bandits' hands were all stained with blood and deserved to die. Lu Ming didn't show any mercy. The bandits couldn't resist at all in his hands. He reaped their lives to his heart's content. Wherever Lu Ming passed, a large number of corpses would fall. It was a one-sided battle and the bandits couldn't resist at all. Soon, the area was filled with corpses. 300 to 400 bandits were slaughtered. Ha ha ha, the Sand Snake Bandits and Dry Bone Bandits have been annihilated. Long live the young master. The young master is invincible. Long live the young master. The Lu family members let out thunderous cheers. After a long while, it gradually calmed down. After that, a group of people was left to clean up the battlefield. The 5 core elders led a group of people and returned to the Lu family with Lu Ming. As for the news of this battle, it quickly spread throughout the entire Firestorm City. Countless people were shocked by this news. The first leader of the Dry Bone Bandits and the second leader of the Dry Bone Bandits, who were 5th stage martial masters, weren't a match for Lu Ming and were easily killed by Lu Ming. It was too shocking. The happiest person was Li Ping. The stronger Lu Ming was, the happier she was. After that, the Lu family held a grand banquet. The famous people of Firestorm City came to congratulate them. Chapter 75. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had been in the Lu clan for 7 days. In these 7 days, apart from cultivating, Lu Ming spent his time chatting with Li Ping. There were several times when he almost told Li Ping that he might still be alive, but he held himself back in the end. After 7 days, Lu Ming bid farewell to Li Ping and rode the Dark Blood Wolf towards the Mystic Essence Sword sect. After 5 days, the Mystic Essence Sword sect was already in sight. Go! Since you've carried me for so long, I'll set you free. Lu Ming patted the Dark Blood Wolf's neck. Woo! The Dark Blood Wolf howled excitedly and ran away, as if it was afraid that Lu Ming would go back on his word. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the forest. Lu Ming smiled and walked towards the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Not long after, Lu Ming returned to the Mystic Essence Sword sect. However, he didn't return to his dorm first. Instead, he went to the mission hall. He would turn in the mission first. He walked into the mission hall and came to a counter. "Junior brother, are you here to accept or turn in the mission?" A rather beautiful young lady at the counter asked. "Turn in the mission." Lu Ming handed a mission card to the young lady. It was the Bloodflower mission. As for the escort mission from the Zhu clan, since the Zhu clan was already destroyed, there was no need to turn it in. Bloodflower mission? May I know how many blood flowers junior brother has collected? The young lady asked. She knew that this mission wasn't easy to complete. Blood flowers weren't easy to collect. Not only did they have to go to the Dark Blood Mountain, but each flower only cost 100 contribution points. The return trip was too long, so it wasn't worth it. Therefore, not many people accepted the mission. She was curious about how many Lu Ming had collected. "Senior sister, please count them." Lu Ming waved his hand, and a large pile of blood flowers appeared on the counter. So many." The young lady looked at the blood flowers on the counter and was stunned. Her rosy lips were wide open. She never expected Lu Ming to be able to collect so many blood-lingering flowers. This pile of blood-lingering flowers also attracted the attention of a large number of people nearby. So many blood-lingering flowers. Who is this person? You don't even know this year's newcomer king? So it's him. His luck is really good. He actually managed to find so many blood-lingering flowers. My luck is indeed pretty good. Envious voices could be heard from the surroundings. Can you help me count them? Lu Ming waved his hand in front of the young woman's eyes and asked. Okay. Only then did the young woman react. She hurriedly helped Lu Ming count the items. A total of 55 blood-lingering flowers. Each flower costs 100 contribution points, so that's a total of 5,500 contribution points. The young woman said with envy in her eyes. She didn't know how long it would take her to earn 5,500 contribution points. Lu Ming nodded and handed the identity jade token to the young woman. A moment later, 5,500 contribution points were added to Lu Ming's identity jade token. After handing in the mission, Lu Ming did not stay and went straight to the dormitory. Lu Ming did not notice that outside the mission hall, 2 young men had been watching Lu Ming leave. Lu Ming is back. Let's hurry back and report to senior brother Yarrow Tianyu. Let's go. A moment later, Lu Ming returned to the dormitory. He realized that Pang Shi and Hua Kai were not there. Lu Ming guessed that Pang Shi and Hua Kai were most likely cultivating elsewhere or doing missions. Without thinking too much, Lu Ming walked into the room, sat down cross-legged, and began cultivating the true dragon battle art. After these days of cultivation, Lu Ming's cultivation had already been completely consolidated. He was now working hard to advance to the mid-7th level martial master. After 3 hours, Lu Ming finally ended his cultivation. Bam! At this moment, a heavy crash came from the courtyard's door. It seemed to have been kicked open. It's not Pang Shi and Hua Kai. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. If it was Pang Shi and Hua Kai, they wouldn't have kicked the door open like this. Lu Ming got up and walked out of the room. He saw 2 young men walking in from outside. Lu Ming, you're here. Just in time. A young man in a red robe saw Lu Ming and smiled coldly. Who are you? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. We're disciples of the Azure Dragon Hall. Senior brother Yarrow Tianyu summons you. Hurry up and bring the Dark Bloodstone to the Azure Dragon Hall to meet senior brother Yarrow Tianyu. The red-robed young man said coldly. His tone was filled with arrogance and a commanding tone. Yarrow Tianyu? Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. He immediately remembered. Wasn't it the Yarrow Tianyu on the bronze list that the Azure Dragon Hall disciples mentioned on the Dark Blood Mountain? He was really in a hurry. Lu Ming had just returned and he was already looking for him. And it was a summons. Asking him to meet him? Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile as he replied, I'm not free. What? Not free? Senior brother Yarrow Tianyu summons you. Even if you have something important to do, you have to put it down. Hurry up and bring the Dark Bloodstone with you. The red-robed young man scolded. He still had an arrogant expression on his face. What bullshit, Yarrow Tianyu. I've already told you that I'm not free. Hurry up and get lost. Lu Ming's face darkened as he said coldly. What? You're courting death, you. Get lost. The young man in the red robe was about to say something when Lu Ming roared furiously. His figure dashed out, and both his fists blasted out. Bang! Bang! The two young men were also 7th layer martial masters, but they were no match for Lu Ming. They were sent flying out of the door and fell heavily on the ground. Lu Ming looked down at the two of them and said coldly, I've already said, get lost. If you don't get lost, I don't mind throwing the two of you off the Vermilion Bird Peak. Lu Ming, don't be arrogant. Just you wait. If you offend senior brother Yarrow Tianyu, you won't have a good ending. The red-robed youth shouted loudly. Then, he and the other person fled in a sorry state. Bronze list. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He didn't know much about the bronze list, but he knew that anyone who could be on the bronze list was a super genius. The highest cultivation of a bronze disciple was the 9th layer martial master. Once they broke through to the martial grandmaster realm, they would be promoted to a silver disciple as long as they weren't too old. And the geniuses on the bronze list were all at the peak of the 9th layer martial master realm. And they weren't ordinary peak 9th layer martial masters, because they were all geniuses with incomparably powerful combat strength. It was said that ordinary peak 9th layer martial masters couldn't even last one move in the hands of the geniuses on the bronze list. The geniuses on the bronze list were all invincible existences of the same level. They could even fight across levels. For the current Lu Ming, they were indeed invincible. Lu Ming returned to his room and pondered. Right now, my martial skills are too weak. I have to cultivate the flaming astral spear art as soon as possible. But before that, I need to cultivate the basic spear arts. Lu Ming pondered. No matter what weapon he cultivated, he needed a foundation. Lu Ming had never cultivated a spear art before. Without a foundation, it was impossible for him to cultivate a low-grade profound rank spear art right away. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,